Welcome everybody to the CSFL Week 8 post-game show. We're going to wrap up the weekend for you here in this great Week 8 that we had. Super excited to bring it to you guys, and we had some crazy good shows, so let's get right into it. The first matchup, the first matchup you'll see is the Bears and the Cobras right here on the right side of your screen, breaking it down. And then just above me here is the standings as of right now. But let's bring up the game. The Bears and the Cobras. The Cobras, congratulations to these Cobras for getting their first win. They came into this game 0-7 on a 7-game losing streak, and the Bears came in on a 5-game losing streak. And we were curious how this game was going to play out. Two big turnovers by the Bears. The Cobras start their backup quarterback, Ty Brandt, and he is just playing phenomenal. Also, you know who, Brian Williams and Michael Pounds for the Cobras, having a big day for them as well, racking up over 300 receiving yards. And then on the ground, surprising the entire league, Charles Hackett, the running back for the Cobras, coming out having a huge day, over 100 yards, 111 yards for a team total rushing for the Cobras, which is really high for them because they were second last coming into this game. As you can see the graphic above, they are ninth offense with the third passing offense, and they had the worst defense in the league, but they were able to take down these Bears, and the Bears could not put it together. They could not run the ball. The Bears are now on a 6-game losing streak, go to 2-6. These Bears are a really good defensive team, and this game you would not think it because they got torched early, letting up 21 points in the first quarter. The Bears coming out strong with their Bill Morris and Blaine Strickland, their wide receiver, Blaine Strickland, and they got Ryan Dillon, the villain, wide receiver for the Bears out there, and Bill Morris, their phenomenal quarterback. They are ranked 6th in the league for their passing offense coming into this game. They also had the second best rushing defense coming into this game. These Bears have a good defense and were able to hold people to low scoring to allow their offense to come back, but not in this one. The Cobras were able to run away with it. They scored 21 points in the first quarter. It was a great game. The stats tell you everything right there. But congratulations really to the Cobras for getting their first win of the season. We were all rooting for you. And the Bears go to 2-6, and Bears are close to missing the playoffs right there, right on the cusp. Let's bring down the graphic there. The Bears are finishing right now at the 8th seed. They're in the 8th seed at 2-6 above the Dragons and the Cobras. So the Bears, as of right now, if the playoffs ended, they would make it in, but they do not end. They have one more week in week 9. Anyways, let's move on to the next game. The next game we had for you, that was the Friday Nighter. Now this next game here is the Vipers and the Gators. It was quite the classic match between these two titans of a teams. Let's take a look at the graphic here above me. They were both 5-2 coming into this game. Vipers, congratulations on their big win, a 1-point win with a phenomenal run by Phil Clemens. They had a phenomenal game on the ground, even though the Gators kept them in check. And I did not know who was going to win this game, but I tell you one thing, no one thought that it was going to be a 14-13. Both these teams scoring lots of points. Derek Albright and the Vipers with the 5th best offense, and the Gators with the 2nd best rated offense. Second in points, averaging 36 points a game. These Gators were held to 13 points. And honestly, you have to give the credit to this phenomenal defense of the Vipers. They had the 3rd best defense coming into this game, and they really put that total offense in check. But they struggled on offense. They scored twice, but there was a remarkable run. I believe it was just before halftime, around the 2-minute mark. Phil Clemens, 7 yards out of the end zone, breaks about 5, questionably 6 tackles. The running back from the Vipers breaks all these tackles, has a highlight reel of a play, maybe even the best run in CSFL history. I'm going to go on record saying that. Phil Clemens comes out with a phenomenal run to get in the end zone to go up by 1, and these Gators could not move. Both these teams turned into a gridlock. They both studied quite a few. These two are one of the most active owners in the league, and they went head to head. I would not be surprised to see this be another playoff match. They could meet in the playoffs, no problem. That would not surprise me. And we'll see how that game goes. But again, Eric Reeves, the quarterback for the Gators, he's ranked number 1 with the number 1 passing offense and just could not get the ball going. Only 122 yards in the air and struggled. No turnovers for either team, but they definitely could not move the ball in the third and fourth quarter. It was definitely a gridlock. What a phenomenal game for the Vipers to win on the road and to shut down this second-rated ranked offense. It was absolutely a phenomenal performance by the Vipers defense. So, with that said, we'll take a look at the standings real quick here. The Vipers finish 6-2 now and lock up the second spot in the total standings out of 10 teams. They are now the second best team, and the Gators now fall to the 4th position at 5-3. They are more than in it. All these teams are still clinched to playoffs except for the bottom 4. So they may see each other again. So I'm excited to see that. That's for sure. Now let's get into the next game of the Saturday, and that was the Piranhas versus the Wildcats. Phenomenal matchup here with these two teams. We thought we were going to see a phenomenal game as well with this 5-1-1 Piranhas going against these 5-2 Wildcats. Wildcats with the second best ranked defense going against the number 1 in passing, or the number 1 offense in rushing and second best in passing. These Piranhas are also number 1 in points per game, averaging 37 points a game. These Piranhas can't do anything wrong on offense. They run it really well, if not the best, and they throw it, if not the best. They are the best at throwing and running. It's almost impossible to defend these guys when they are on the offensive side of the ball, when they're on the field offensively. But they also have the 4th best defense with the second best pass defense, 3rd in turnovers. They are just great everywhere, but the only thing they struggle with is stopping the run, because they are second last at stopping the run, and this is coming into this game, right? So the defense for the Wildcats tried to keep them in check, slowed them down a little bit, but you can only hold them down for so long, and then the Piranhas came back with a vengeance and did not only throw the ball really well with Alonzo Graham and Chauncey Preston and Andre Watson, the 2 receivers and the quarterback for the Piranhas. Also, Willie Burnsides, the running back for the Piranhas, had a phenomenal day, 153 total team yards on the ground. They just could not be stopped. They were tossing, running, rolling, jumping, everything. One takeaway from the Piranhas too was a big one when they were trying to come back and try to get this game a little bit closer. Big jump interception by the free safety, Tim Kreisman, for the Piranhas. Their free safety went up there and plucked the ball right out of the air about 10 yards in the red zone. So again, prevented more points. Piranhas get 37 points, and the Wildcats only get 21 points. They had 14 points for the majority of the game and got one late score there to Eric Potts to make it 21 points, to make it not look like a blowout, but really it was a blowout. They could not run the ball, only 63 total rushing yards from the team, 231 passing yards because one of them was a bomb right at the end of the game. But for the most part, these Piranhas held them down. Look at that, 21 first downs for the Piranhas compared to their 8. They ran the ball, and they ran the ball well. So these Piranhas now, we'll take a look at the standings. The Piranhas now are 6-1-1. The only team to beat these Piranhas, guess who? Is the Vipers. And the only team then, and who they tied with, are the Rhinos, who are third. So the second and third best teams have beat and tied the number one team with the Piranhas, and these number one Piranhas are looking dangerous, and I don't think anybody wants to match up against these guys, that's for sure. And these Wildcats, give one little spill on these Wildcats before we go to the next game. These Wildcats were looking really strong defensively coming into this game, but their offense now ranked 7th, if not lower. That was the 7th coming into this game, so it's probably even lower than that now. Really struggled to score points, really struggled to run the ball, and could not get the ball off and throw the ball efficiently. These Wildcats coming into the playoffs, not next week, but the week after, May 1st, when these playoffs start. I think these Wildcats are in big trouble. They need to turn things around offensively, and they need to get back to their winning ways, because they are kind of falling off the bandwagon now, dropping to the 5th best team on the charts. Now, let's go take a look at the 4th matchup of the weekend. This was the Rhinos versus the defending champion Dragons. What a phenomenal game this was. If you love turnovers and you love thrilling games, this has got to be the best game of the weekend. The Rhinos 4-2-1 come into this game going against this 2-5 team that is on a 2-game losing streak, and I can't blame teams for saying that, you know, they're going to go with the Rhinos here, obviously just because of the record alone. And look at the struggling defense of these Dragons. These are the defending champs. They won it last season, but they are ranked 7th, now 3rd worst in the league, and that was their strong point. They were one of the best defenses last season, which helped carry their offense, and their passing offense really put it together with Brendan Platt, their quarterback, and their wide receiver, Barry Perkins, was able to get it done. But now this season is the 5th coming into this game, going against the worst pass defense in the Rhinos. The Rhinos hold the 10th spot, letting up 2,300 yards in 7 games. But they have the number 1 rushing defense, and the Dragons start their rookie running back, Bryant Locker, in this game going against, they have the 8th ranked rushing offense, and they started their rookie running back going against the rushing defense of these Rhinos, which is the number 1 rushing defense. So questionable call there. Obviously they're trying to switch it up. They're 2-5. The rookie actually had a great run, broke away for an 80-yard run, and actually did look really promising. Bryant Locker looks like he is a great running back. That could be challenging R.J. Barber for his spot, because R.J. Barber, coming into this game, has only gotten 3 touchdowns on the ground. So definitely can't blame him for the switch up, but going into this number 1 rushing defense was definitely a big test for him. And that's for sure. But these Rhinos come through with the win late in the game. The Rhinos, when you talk about this game, they finished 34 points against this 28. They went up 20-6. And then they let up a touchdown run by the rookie. Then an interception return by Jamie Foster, the corner of the Dragons, brought it back and got a touchdown to make it 21-20. Dragons went up by 1, and then they scored again, and the Dragons went up 28-21. And at that point, we were nervous for these Rhinos, but the Rhinos come back big time with Marshall, the Marshall Law, as they like to call him. Mark Marshall, the running back for the Rhinos, is 2nd in the league coming into this game and has been playing phenomenal. Also leads the league in rushing touchdowns. This Mark Marshall's absolutely phenomenal running back. 203 or 205 total team rushing yards last game. Last game against the Cobras, they had 300 rushing yards. So now 500 rushing yards now for the Rhinos in 2 games, and they are rolling. But struggling to pass the ball. They are last in the league for passing the ball, and you could see it against these Dragons where J.J. Horton threw 3 interceptions, but so did Brendan Platt. So 6 total interceptions in this game. It was absolutely thrilling to see how back and forth it was. There was, I believe it was 4 interceptions or 3 interceptions back to back. Back to back. So it was absolutely phenomenal to watch. If you're going to watch one of these games this weekend and you can only catch one of them, definitely take a look at this one because it was an absolute thriller. So yes, these Rhinos and Dragons, the Dragons fought hard and almost came away with the win, but Randy Dorsey late in the game, bomb to Randy Dorsey, the wide receiver for the Rhinos, comes through and takes the lead, and they hold on to get their win, and that is their 5th win of the season. The Rhinos get their 5th win and go 5-2-1 to put themselves at the 3rd best in the CSFL as the season is closing out. 1 more week left. So absolutely congratulations to those Rhinos for getting that crazy win there. And the Dragons really struggling to get it going offensively, and their defense, their best strength, is one of the things that was really struggling as well. So hopefully these Dragons can turn things around, and so let's see if they can squeak into these playoffs. 1 more week left. They are not mathematically out of it, so these Dragons can definitely get into it with 1 more win next week. So I'm excited to see that. And let's cap this video off with the last matchup of the weekend was the Blue Jays versus the Werewolves. And these Blue Jays are really desperate to get a win. They need a win to get in, and guess what? They got it. So they got 3 wins now on the season coming into this game, 2-5. They get their 3rd win of the season, which may clinch their playoff spot. So I'm excited for the Blue Jays to make it into these playoffs. They get 2 big turnovers against the Werewolves and slow down this high-powered offense. The 4th best offense in the Werewolves struggled to get it going against these Blue Jays, but they had no problem running the ball. Darius Burke, they could not stop Darius Burke. The Werewolves tried their best to run the ball, and they ran it really well, but again, struggled to throw it. Coming into this game, they are the 2nd worst in the league at 9th for passing the ball, and you could definitely see the struggles in this game. They also have the 8th, 2nd worst defense coming into this game. And they really got trampled on offensively early. It went down, I believe it was 14-7, and it was really hard for these Werewolves to get anything going offensively. The Blue Jays come into this game with the 1st best defense, even though they're 2-5. No one can really pass it on these guys. They have a real hard time passing it. But the big story of this game is obviously the 2 turnovers, because the Blue Jays have struggled to turn it over all game or all season. They only had 1 turnover coming into this game. So they only had 1 in 7 games, and they get 2 in this game right here. So that was really big for them. Really big games for their offense. I'm really excited for the Blue Jays to get that 3rd win. And the Blue Jays finished 31-24. The total offense, almost 400 total offense, 259 in the air and 134 on the ground. But the Werewolves did run for 209 rushing yards. That's just Darius Burke, the running back for the Werewolves, is just so strong and so powerful, but it just was not enough in this game. The 2 turnovers really hurt them. And the Blue Jays get their 3rd win, moving them up there to the, I believe it is the 7th seed. So the Blue Jays right now looking like they clinched a playoff spot with that win. I'm not sure if the Bears or the Dragons, if they get 3, they might move the Blue Jays down if they lose next week, so I'm not too sure about that. I don't want to celebrate too early, but the Blue Jays definitely have something to be excited about. The Werewolves have already clinched the playoffs, but they don't want to lose too many, because if they lose this one now and then they lose next week, they may fall to one of the 7th, 8th seed, which means you're playing one of those best teams in the Piranhas, Vipers, Rhinos, Gators, who knows who you're going to be playing. But yes, it is exciting football, and that is it for the wrap-up. Good luck to all the teams next week. It was an exciting weekend for sure in CSFL Week 8, and I'm excited to bring you Week 9 next weekend, and then after that, May 1st is the beginning of the playoffs, where all these teams go head-to-head in a do-or-die one-game playoff series to see who moves on to the semifinal round, then to the championship, and we will crown who the CSFL Season 2 champion is. So stay tuned for that. Thank you so much if you watched the whole video, and have yourself a good day.